And good morning, my beautiful America. Welcome back to the All American Book Club. I'm Eden Gordon Hill, and boy, we are talking about food and faith for the month of June as we are celebrating the summer and our favorite reads for your summer read list here at the All American Book Club. I have the honor to bring over to the show for the first time, but we've been hanging out on Instagram, so all of you followers on Instagram already know who I'm about to introduce. I'm bringing over to the show the secret ingredient, Gigi Butler. And you guys know her as Gigi's Cupcakes, but we're going to dive into her journey from cleaning houses to leading a multi-million-dollar franchise. So let's get to it. Gigi, welcome to the All American Book Club.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. You're talking about
Absolutely.
my favorite things, faith and food.
All right, let's do it. I mean, I love your story and the secret ingredient. So let's talk about the faith component first, because
Okay.
that faith component got you to the food component.
Right, it did. I was blessed with the gift of faith and tenacity. And with that faith, my first big, huge leap of faith was leaving my little small desert town with $500 left to my name, no job, no place to live. And I just knew with a passion that I had to move to Nashville across the country. So that was my big leap of faith. And
Mhm,
since then, I've had many leaps of faith, but that was the first big one that I said,
mhm.
you know what, I'm going to do this and I'm going to follow through. And you never know when you're going to take that first step out, what's going to happen. You may fall, but you're
Yeah.
going to fall forward no matter what. So it's all about the big leaps of faith. And people are like, well, big leaps of faith. Yeah, that sounds great, but that's not for me.
Mhm.
Well, if you're not evolving, you're dissolving. So if you're not becoming the person that you know God wants you to be, then you're just stagnant and really you're not living your true best life.
So your faith inspired you, but did you
Right.
have people around you of faith? Were your parents people of faith that really
Absolutely.
lifted you up?
Absolutely. My dad was an entrepreneur and we had a potbelly pig business, a five restaurants, a arcade, a video arcade. He was a fireman. So we were always, and he didn't succeed at everything. But what it taught me was it was okay to fail, but just keep moving forward. And my mom was a stay-at-home mom, the ultimate Martha Stewart of the world. And she would just say, oh, we can do it. You could do it, honey. You can do it. So she was the encourager of the family. And I watched my dad take these huge leaps of faith. And so I just thought everyone, well, I thought everyone has a gift of faith, but they don't, come to find out. Because when I
Mhm.
speak across the country, 99% of the time people ask me, I'm so afraid. How do I break out of my fear? And so that's really what I talk about when I'm speaking across the country is what have I done to be able to break out of that fear mode and go forward anyways?
So was baking that space for you? Was it like the zone? Like, this is my creative, this is where I find healing, this is where I hear the Lord speak to me. Was that it for you? I mean,
No,
no, how
not
did that
really.
happen for
Well, my great great grandmother in the turn of the century had her first bakery in Oklahoma called Bill's Bakery. And so my
you?
entire family, my mom's Italian, my entire family cooked and baked. And I mean, that's just what we did. I was on the stool with all my aunts and my grandma and my mom learning how to roll pie dough and make cobblers and make cakes at 5. But I didn't think that I would be doing it. It was being instilled in me, but I didn't
Yeah.
think that's what I was going to do for a living. I was going to be a country music singer songwriter. That's why I moved to Nashville at 7. I heard a Dolly Parton song while I was roller skating one day, and I'm like, that's it. That's what I'm going to do. I told my parents, I'm like, I'm moving to Nashville. They were like, okay, what? So I just had this, like, I'm doing it at 7, music, that was it. And when that dream died and I had
Yeah.
to figure out a new dream and pivot, I felt
Yeah.
like a loser for a few years, right? Like, am I only going to be a house cleaner? Am I only going to do this? But I learned that it's not why God, why me? It's
Yeah.
why not me? Why not?
Right.
Why not? I'm grateful. I'm grateful cleaning houses. I actually love my cleaning business, Gigi's Cleaning Company. And
Yeah.
I love being handy and working. And, I always have to keep busy. So it turned from oh, bitter and why me, to
Right.
grateful. Why not me? Why can't I just recreate myself? Why can't we?
That's exactly it. And that message is what the digital generation needs to hear. Not
Correct.
about how many likes did I get on my
Right.
TikTok, but why not me, as they pursue their dreams, and why
Right.
not get them out of that isolated space? Because I think the mentality is still very isolated. You get
It
so
is.
isolated by the digital role, and you are giving such a powerful example of hands-on experience, and that hands-on experience with faith. And I want to lead into something a little lighthearted here for a second. I can't cook and bake to save my life. I
Oh
made
no.
I my mother-in-law, she's passed, but she was determined, a northern girl just like me, moving to a southern world, trying to
Right.
figure out the southern cuisine, and she has a bakery that now lives on.
Oh,
But all that to say, I knew I could never compare, so I just gave up. So all I'm saying to you is you're gonna come and you're gonna do cobblers for me. You're gonna teach me how to do the
absolutely.
you're
I
gonna
would
teach me
love that.
right. Pie crust and everything. Because goodness gracious, I mean, I even grew up around my grandmother, my great grandmother,
Right.
the Hungarian pastries, the
Right.
Hungarian good food, and my
Yeah.
mom cooking. My mom's like, "How did you miss the apple cart?" I'm like, seriously, I don't know. But all that to say, I want to zero back on the audience. Pursue what you love and say, why not me? Versus
Right.
woe is me pity party. Because I think
Right.
we all fall into that. And it's just like you said, you had many failures, but then
Ma-
look where success. I want you to talk a little bit about that opening day for you of the bakery.
Okay. I would
That
love to. It
that
was
was
so scary.
that was a dark spot for
It
you.
was a
And
very pivotal point in my life. And
yeah,
what I do want to say to the people that are listening is you may think that you're meant to be on this earth for one thing. And then with that one thing ends or dies, or, something happens, and people are like, well, that's it. I'm done. That was my destiny. Well, maybe it wasn't. Maybe the destiny is all of the things that you did in the past, all the cupcakes I baked, all the songs I sang at the bars, all of the pies
yeah,
I baked, all the houses I cleaned. Maybe if I could bring all those skills and bring them to now and be able to pivot, and because creativity never dies. God
oh
is
good,
the ultimate creator. He
yeah,
has put us on this earth to create. So if we stop creating, well, that's my dream, that was my identity. Well, no, maybe that was the dream that got you to where you need to be right now. So
yeah,
keep moving forward. So that's something that I
yes,
really wanted to tell people. So the first day that I was going to open my doors, I had taken out $100,000 cash advances on my credit cards, and I had $33 left to my name when I was opening my doors. Now, four banks laughed in my face; they wouldn't give me a loan, even though I had great credit. I had a little bit of savings.
mm,
I'd been in business with my cleaning business almost 15 years by then. So I'm like, why? And it was popular getting a loan for a
yeah,
female. So I'm like, what? They all thought I was crazy.
yeah,
So I was determined. So that was a huge leap of faith for me, right? Opening up, $33 left in my name. Didn't know how I was going to pay my mortgage. I put my little apron on that my mom made with cupcakes on it. And and all the people that I cleaned for, I had 75 clients and very high profile business people and
uh,
artists and doctors and lawyers. And they're like, you need a business plan. You need to, I'm like, I've got 33 bucks. I'm just going to do it. If I fail, then I'll spend the rest of my life paying off $100,000. Like, what do you want from me? So
right,
open my doors, and I was praying to God, please just show up, Lord, because I've done it. I've done the work. I was loyal. I stepped out, and God showed up. And
mm,
that's the whole snowball effect. And all of a sudden, from $33 to one store, one dream, one store, it took
yeah,
me to 125 stores in 24 states in 5 years.
that's
And
impressive.
it was unbelievable. I just can't even. And I went from a house cleaner that, I mean, I'd always managed people and everything, but not in that way, of
Right,
becoming a CEO of a company with tons of employees, franchisees, franchise companies, stores, employees all over the country. It was really an interesting dynamic. And
Mm,
another thing I've learned is that you have to let go to grow. And I think
mm,
that's one of the hardest things to do is letting go to grow. And
yeah.
most people that are entrepreneurs or have this grit inside them, tend to be type A,
Yes.
a
Yes.
little bit of control freak,
Yeah.
just a skosh, right? But being able to, and you have to have that. Like you've got to have this passion and say, nope, I'm not. I'm a stickler on this. I'm a stickler on the design. I'm a stickler on my cupcake, on the flavors. No, you're not touching them. But doing the things that you love is great. But the
Mm,
things that you're not really good at, you can't do everything. So
right.
you have to let go to grow. And that was one of the hardest things I did. I let go to grow, and
Mm.
it just exploded.
So for all of those young entrepreneurs out there who are
Yeah,
listening in, and maybe those who have had their businesses for a while, and
right.
they're saying, you know, the every excuse in the book, the economy, the taxes, or whatever, the political climate. I want to be able to say, hey, to these mom and pop shops like yours, Gigi's Cup,
Right.
and how you expanded, let go to grow.
To grow. Yes. And sometimes when you let go to grow and you have another dream, which was my pie shop that
Yeah.
I opened in 2020, and I fell on my face. It was an absolutely disaster. Most of my savings gone. And I thought this was my new thing. This was going to be it. Disaster, complete, decimated my life. Had to sell my dream house. Had to, I moved out of Nashville because I just needed to lick my wounds, right? But
Yeah.
I would say this right now, that I am so glad I did that, and I failed. Like I can't even tell you how hard it was. And people are like, well, you took a chance and you did it. So how can you say, no, I took a chance and yes, I did succeed, but I also took another chance and I failed miserably, on my face, lost almost everything. So
Mm.
having come from two worlds, right? From
Yeah.
both of those worlds, being this, then being this, then being this, then being this, I
Yeah.
would not change things,
Yeah.
because what I will never have to regret of the what if I would have done it? I don't ever have to wonder, what if I would have done that pie shop? What if I would have done pies by Gigi? Dang. And I don't want to sit up when I'm on the porch at 90 and go, why didn't I try? I don't have
Yeah.
to worry about it because I tried and I failed and it
Yeah.
stunk. But
Yeah. But you
I
just,
I tried. And you
yeah.
know what? God's like, okay, dear child, you tried the things you learned, right? All of the things that all the nightmare in 2020 that decimated small business over
Yes.
BS. We won't even go into that. But
Right.
that all of that is now prepared me for another realm into my life.
And
Food.
let's
Yeah.
talk about that. Let's talk about that. I'm so dying to talk about the next realm. If
Well,
how much you can say, how much you can say.
I wrote the first book,
Right.
and I came to Florida. I thought to myself, if I was going to just start all over and lose my dream, and not lose it, sell my dream home and start all over, lick my wounds, I want to move to Florida and just take a few years to figure out what I wanted to do. And so I wrote a cookbook that is about food and love and devotion. And so, like the Black Forest cheesecake bars, I talk about how delicious, and I show the recipe of the Black Forest cheesecake bar. But I also talk about the Black Forest that we all go to
Yep.
sometimes, have
Yep.
to go through, and how God, in his mercy and in his love, he chases after us and he pulls us out of that Black Forest. Or the
Amen.
Rocky Road pie, that, Rocky Road pie is fantastic. But when you're going through the rocky roads of life and you have nothing but God,
Yes.
that's a
Yes.
hard spot. And I will tell you, I have been there where I have nothing but God. But what I have realized is that's all I need.
Yes.
If I got
Amen.
God, I've got everything, right? If I have
Yes.
joy and I'm grateful and I've had to pick myself up and dust myself off again, I have everything. So I decided to write that 31-day devotional with all
Mhm.
of the recipes that have really meant a lot to me in my life,
Mhm.
plus pairing them with a few verses from the Bible and my
Yes.
story on how I got through that. So I finished that,
Yes.
and all of a sudden I was like, why can't I do a TV show about it? Because what I think people are lacking in this world is
Mhm.
food, love, community, and
Yeah.
hospitality. No one knows hospitality anymore. So
No, they
can
don't.
I blend hospitality with food that I love? Because food is my love language. And I was thinking, oh, when I get old, which I'm kind of old, but when I get old, I want to be able to have a Bible study at my house and have all these kids at my house and feed them and make them feel loved and then talk to them about the Lord. And I thought,
Yeah.
wait a minute, why
I,
can't I do that on a bigger scale? I mean,
yeah.
have the TV person. Why can't we do that? Because Jesus is the king of hospitality.
Yes,
He
he
didn't just
is.
feed our souls, he fed us, right? And he
Amen.
taught us how to be hospitable. So if I could take that in a southern kind of hot mess and blend
Yeah.
it with a Martha Stewart or Joyce Meyer and really talk about faith while cooking with a great guest that has gone through hell and torture
Yeah.
and gone through it and talked about his faith or her faith, why
Yes.
can I do that? Because when we bring food into something, food means communion, food means community and love.
Amen.
So
I was going to say something to you about the whole hospitality thing because you are so right. This culture today lacks that hospitality. I
absolutely.
went to a furniture store 2 weeks ago and I'm
Right.
looking for a dining room set.
Right.
We need dining room sets.
Mm-hmm.
Because those houses now have a bar
Yeah.
or they have, the stools, the bar. There's no dining room area because people don't gather anymore
No,
around
they
the
don't gather.
table.
They don't gather. And I think that's the biggest sin, one of the biggest
It is.
sins of our
It,
life, being so busy, travel, sports, being not communing together, not eating together, not having family and unity. And people don't cook anymore,
no.
especially women. So if
Yep.
I can bring a little bit of that inspiration to
Yeah.
people and talk about faith and talk about politics and talk about what's going on in our world,
Yes.
I don't want to just, well, she'll just inspire. No, I want
No.
to create something. I want to feed people and I want to tell people about God and
Yeah.
how good he is. And that's what's
Yes.
lacking. And so that's what my new thing is. Food is love. And I think another thing that people really could learn is
Mhm.
if you ask God, God, what is my gift? And if you know what your gifts are, well,
Yeah.
then there's a creative way to bring about a job or more money with your gift or more community with your gift, whatever that gift is, you just
Mhm.
have to be resourceful. So I
Yeah.
just took my gift of food and baking and having the cupcake shops and all of the people that I affected and changed their lives by having small business or feeding them with cupcakes and all the stories I hear. And I'm like, why can't I do that with just food again? So
Yes.
here we are.
Well, one thing I was going to say, I always say this on my show, and all of my years of working in Washington, in the halls of Congress and the White House, you always sit there and say, okay, we're the power makers, we're the policy makers, we're the dream makers,
Right,
change everything. But no, that's incorrect.
right.
What is most important and the decisions that are most important to our nation are what happens at the family table.
People. Right.
Yes, because
That's our whole family communion that we are missing.
it is. And that's where the greatest decisions will be ever made for our nation is how
Right.
we raise our kids, how we treat our spouses, how we take care of our families, how we look
Right.
after the community. That's
Right.
where it all began. Judeo-Christian values all began at the table. And so
Right.
I love doing this powerful way to bring God back to our kitchen tables
Right.
and bringing the importance of food and just bringing that whole community back together. That's so powerful. So thank you.
Well,
I mean, yeah, no, go ahead, go ahead. Final thought, because I just looked at the time and we're
oh,
out. So final
oh,
thought.
okay. Final thought is I have a 13-year-old daughter, and
Yeah,
we're in a community where there's a lot of diversity, and there's
yeah,
kids that don't have a home and don't have people that love them and feed them. And I was like, Kendall, I would love to let's start feeding people. So they come over once in a while, and I just make them hot chocolate this
Oh,
winter, right? I just made them hot chocolate. Well, still to this day, the little boys at school. Yesterday, she came home. She goes, "Mom, he was telling everyone how much he loved your hot chocolate. It's the best hot. Miss Gigi makes the best hot chocolate in the world, and it wasn't anything special." And I told my daughter, the reason why he remembers that hot chocolate and he thinks it's the best in the world is that it was made with love, because I lovingly made it for him, because I wanted him to feel at home and have community and know that he is loved. So it was just a cup of hot chocolate, but it goes to him. He just said it yesterday. It was wintertime. It's now
yeah.
almost summer. But when some kid that's 13 is telling my daughter, "Man, your mom makes the best. We love your mom's food. We love," it's because it's baked with love. And if you
Yeah.
do anything with love, with a true heart that you really want to serve God with your talent and your gift, He will bless it.
Oh, amen. And
He'll bless
on that note, Gigi Butler, I am so thankful for you. Okay, you are
you.
invited to our home in Eastern North Carolina.
Okay.
Help me cook.
When?
Okay. Bake. Whatever you want, whatever
When?
you.
I'll come and make you a dinner. We could just sit and talk about politics and books and
Oh,
food and faith. Wouldn't that be
I
fun?
love it. Oh,
Okay,
yes. And you're not
let's
that
do
far.
it.
You're not that far in Florida.
No,
I'm
no.
I'm so thankful for you. Thank you for entertaining my audience.